Yeah.
So,
That does bring in a very interesting dynamic because obviously they play together. So,
yeah, yeah.
like we're not going to be able to understand a lot of the meta that goes on because they're going to be reverse metaing a lot of what happens normally in these games.
Hmm.
Um, Potential to get very, very funky, but we'll see. We'll find out.
Definitely, we will see. And now that all the major tournaments are over for the season, well, not all of them, but GSL is over and all these things, maybe these players will give it their all here in this headlining match, guys. So let's get right into it. So, game number one is going to be on Overgrowth LE. It is a best of 7 format, guys. We're going to split an $80 prize pool here. The winner will take home 60, runner-up 20 as always. And on Overgrowth LE, Greetorp, please do the honors and take it away with the first player.
All right, top right hand position, the purple Zerg. It is, of course, true. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You're doing all the camera control, right? I don't have
Yes,
to
I
worry about
am.
that.
Yep.
All right, wonderful.
Yep. I will do
And of
the honors
course,
there.
his opponent in the bottom right, left-hand position on Overgrowth. It is the red Terran. Heart. I don't know where the music is at. I don't know how pumped up we should get. So I'll keep it. I'll keep it low key. You know, I'm a low key type of guy. I just like to sit back, analyze, and get excited when fun things happen. You know, we'll find out.
Oh yeah, and you know if we get to see players of this caliber, we definitely should compose ourselves, right? So I can see that making a lot of sense for you.
Definitely so. I mean, these two players, gosh, like on Overgrowth, we can see Hard doing the same thing that I did, which is command center first. Like one of these things is already an indicator to tell me that like they kind of know each other's playstyle. Like a lot of times when you do command center first, it's you're judging whether or not your opponent is too inclined to like six pool, like and often, and especially right out of the gate. And I think normally first game you don't see cheeses. Like you're more likely to see it second and third game than you are to see it the first game. So I think Hart choosing this is a lot more accurate and probably better EV if we want to bring poker terms into it. Do you play poker? I don't know. Can I
I do
talk
not.
about it?
I don't.
Okay.
But you know the funny thing is, my roommate, one of my best friends from college, actually won $20, or not $20, sorry, $20,000 playing at a poker tournament in Los Angeles a few days ago.
It's no joke, man. 20K.
Yeah, 20K.
Wow.
So.
Must be nice.
Indeed. But yeah, as you say, you know, a lot of players don't tend to go crazy with the cheese in game one. Not like your game three with Fenner just a few moments ago.
Yeah, I kind of set that up though with the double command center first in the first and second game. I did realize that like there's a higher propensity for him to be doing some sort of cheese if there was any. But I mean, it was more weighted towards macro than cheese, but gotta slip those best of threes, best of five, best of seven type of mind games in there, you know, really
Yeah.
punish your.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of, you know, the fact that these are always long series is a big reason why we see so many comebacks on Fight Night is because players adjust. And I was suggesting that Fenner would possibly do that, seeing how you open in those first two games. And you just sort of played, you thought even a step further ahead and actually accounted for that as well, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, nice thing, and this is why I'm, you know, the meta is going to be a little bit different. I know Fenner in general doesn't really like his confidence kind of told me that he wasn't going to look at my replays. He wasn't going to take anything seriously. So I knew I only had to play at like the first level, which is I know what he knows and he doesn't know what I know. So he doesn't really know my style. He knows it very minimally from ladder. But I went through like some of his Twitch streams, probably invested like a good hour into it. Just looked at his overall build orders, what he likes to do, especially on like I knew what he likes to do on Bonnie, Overgrowth, and Deadwing, which are all the three maps that he actually chose, which is very convenient. And I was just able to like hard counter build him as long as I see like some prerequisites. So roaches pop out. If you notice, I had 4 tech labs on, but. So that's like the first level. The second level is going to be like now, like True, because he's in a practice partner with him, he could show an initial 5 roaches or 7 roaches, and really scary for his opponent because like he's might hard counter the roaches, go a lot of marauders, and then he's going to be ill prepared against the mutas. So there's a lot of quote unquote inefficient things that you can do as ball in terms of optimal builds, but they make sense within like the metagaming of each other, and that's what I was talking about in the beginning stage. It's just really hard to quantify all of that,
Yeah, I can totally see that, especially if they know each other as well as they do being in the same house and whatnot.
Yeah.
But right now it looks like True actually is going to go ahead with a quicker lair, staying on 2 base here. He's saturated all 4 gases right now, and he's gone ahead with a Baneling Nest, so I'm curious to see if he's going to go for a Spire shortly with all that gas being mined.
Yeah.
He's going to go ahead and take that 3rd, though, in the meantime, while Heart is starting to get some of these Hellions out here and to make some pressure.
Yeah. Most importantly, though, Heart, if you look at his build, I wouldn't be surprised if an armory drops very, very quickly here. He's going for he got an additional 2 barracks super fast. Like, this is incredibly fast. And then directly after that, puts down a super fast starport. This is a 2 minutes faster starport than we're normally used to. So it really allows him to pressure. That's why normally you will see like an armory drop down the same time as the medevac start, and there it is. Armory is going to be dropped down, and this is just going to be stim timing with Marines, Hellbat push in the front.
Yep,
What True is doing?
Yeah, True. Going ahead with that Spire, we can see about halfway done here. And he's getting that +1 attack and armor as well for the Lings. But now we're going to have initial Hellion run by here on this 3rd. Queen, going to be enough to send those Hellions away. You got some more Marines heading over here from Heart, though, so this is going to be a big Marine plus Hellbat push, as you described, Retorp. And we'll see if those mutos will come out soon.
Yeah, well, most importantly, this needs to be scouted really quickly so Banelings can start. Right now, it takes 25 seconds for Banelings or 20 seconds for Banelings to finish, which it looks like True will have enough time. This Baneling Nest is going to come out huge. This should be defended pretty easily. Well, I don't know. It depends on Heart splits here, but we're going to see.
All right, so looks like these Marines are going to start running around various buildings to limit that surface area. But the Banelings are able to clean out about half the army. There's still a bunch of Marines left in here, though, and we still need to see more from True before he can clean this up. Hellbat on the ground is going to do a lot of damage to limit those Lings. We still have a handful of Marines in the back of the mineral line, though, and all mining is still suspended here in this natural before these units get cleaned out.
Yeah, if you told me, like, what's the best build order to counter what True is doing, Heart is probably doing the absolute #1 build order. I would say, though, that because the drones were kept alive, True is like way far ahead. Like, I think Heart has like a 10% chance of winning this game. And the reason why I say that is because the 3rd base is still alive. If you look, 4 drones were killed, which is pretty negligible in relative to how much is actually invested in here. The medevacs are a little bit out of, like, desynced from the production of Heart, and he doesn't have upgrades, he doesn't have he doesn't have production, he doesn't have his 3rd base. Things are just going terribly. The silver lining might be the Spire is taken down, but it's not worth it just killing a Spire and then losing all of your units. This is unfortunately, this is a really tough position for Heart.
Yeah, the only thing I can say, though, about Heart that is a silver lining is that with the Spire out, he doesn't have to, commit heavily to anti-air in his base. He can just live with that 1 missile turret in his mineral line and maybe just have some more map control in the center of the map off creep. And now it looks like he's pushing on to creep once more.
Yeah, Banelings are good, though. I love that he's just positioned on the top. That makes a lot of sense. And this, I think, is the only thing that True or Heart can really do, which is just to harass and drop. He's going to be outmassed every single time. True is about like 2 minutes ahead in development of his opponent. He's gotten his 3rd base completely saturated, and we don't even see that remotely from Heart. Heart just saturated his 2 bases. And, well, this drop might help out a little bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's taken out 4 workers thus far, but the workers have been pulled off to allow for the Lings and the Banes to defend against it. So yeah, I mean, that earlier push, which cost a lot more for Heart to do, didn't even do as much damage as this one did.
We'll find out if, well, actually this gets shut down pretty easily. So yeah, everything is looking good for True. I think he should just Zergling Baneling until he feels comfortable. Switch over to Mutas, take a fourth base. He can literally do everything at once because he kind of knows the level to which he's ahead. I mean, even the supplies don't tell it completely true because they are close in supplies, but ordinarily just Zerg's not pumping out this much gas for this long.
All right, we got another drop being attempted here by Hart, but the Overlord spread is fantastic. He's got great vision across the center of the map, sees this medevac coming well before it even reaches the main base, has all his lings ready to intercept, so the drop is aborted. In the meantime, Hart does go ahead and take that third base, finally landing it over here in the bottom position in front of the main base. And both players working on their upgrades. We got 2-2 on the way here for True. Hart also going with the 2-2 there. His +2 attack is a little sooner than that of True's. But yeah, I have to say True is looking very strong economically right now.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious right now. I thought for sure Zerg would have the lead in supply as we get to this stage, but it looks like more and more just Harass has been way too strong. And now we have like these counterattacks going on. Third base of Zerg is actually under attack, while Zerg and Baneling are going to try to stop that from happening. Of course, the Zergling run by at the third base of Terran is going to be very successful. So we're going to see how good his Heart splits over at the third base of Zerg, because that's what's going to matter. Can he actually clean this up? Another round of Zerglings are going to be really hard to deal with, and then he just overwhelms the rest of the Zerg army. Obviously, clearing up the third is super good. I think True needs to push out on this attack on the third base, though. He can't sit idle. He needs to take advantage of the creep still being there, and it looks like he's just going to go for a big surround.
And Hart is splitting what units he does have here over very well by the fact every unit is just by itself. But that does allow for the Lings to come in with good surrounds, and as such, we see Hart's army cleaned up. That third took a lot of damage, but it stayed alive, as Hart is going to start mining from it here. But I think True with this counterattack is going to look to stop that from happening.
Yeah, that third counterattack by the Zerg is actually one of the most important things to deal with Terran. A lot of times you'll just have rallies going directly over to the third base of Zerg, and Zerg's just trying to hold it off. But if you counterattack, it forces Marines and Marauders back, and it keeps Terran in a weird position, and then you get a production cycle to actually enclose on that big push at the third base, and there can't be further reinforcements. So I really like how True has been playing this out. Strategically, he's way ahead of his opponent so far, but it's because Hart really hasn't had the material yet. He just hasn't been able to get enough stuff out, enough Widow Mines, and really it's Widow Mines and then Marines and Marauders. He hasn't been able to get that stuff out to just deal with his opponent accurately, and it's costing him this game. It's because of the build orders, though. The build orders really affected things, and True was really good with his defense.
Yeah, it's helped a lot, too, that True has bothered that third of Hart so much. I mean, he hasn't really been able to mine there for as long as he'd like to. Now he's looking all right there. But True has 4 bases, 69 workers right now, a fair bit more than what Hart has at home, and that's why True now is the one who's actually leading in the supply.
Yep. I mean, Zerg on 4 bases is really scary as well. That's when they really start to take off, when they get at least their 7th gas. But 7 and 8 gas just gives you the capabilities of doing, that lifestyle type of mass amount of Banelings. Too many to ever be able to split properly.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times what Zergs are relying on these days. Just a mass amount of Banelings to compensate for, the incredible splits that these Terrans are coming up with these days.
Yeah, and the only real easy way for Terran to handle that, and I don't even want to say easy, is that they have to have a lot of Widow Mines. And of which there are 3 right now from Hart, but he's starting to move his army away from them. These units, though, from the Zerg are actually moving around the bottom here, and there's no Widow Mines here to help out easily, but no Banelings either on the part of the Zerg.
Yeah, this is just harass, keep you in your base while, I macro up, take my bases, take my additional drones, and you in your base as Zerg. What I end up doing is forcing you to take a 4th base, and the 4th base requires more units to be spread out all over the map, which helps out Zerg a lot more because counterattacks obviously will be good. Dealing with big pushes will be a lot better. Just going towards the later stages of the game is better for Zerg, I think, on this map, just because you could have a very fourth base centric style. If you start trading really, really, really freaking early, what ends up happening is that the battle is decided the game is decided by the battles, but you want to decide it by attrition a lot of the times.
Yeah, and right now we are about to see Hart start mounting an attack here himself. He's pre-spinning his units off creep, but, I mean, True knows better than that. He's not going to engage you off creep. He just wants you to come onto his home turf and start fighting you on there. But we're going to see soon that big engagement start. Banelings rolling in right now. The unit's pre-split by Hart, limiting what damage the Banelings can do on the ground. More being worked. And looks like
from
right
behind.
Now, oh my gosh, Hart doing so much damage there, but the Banelings still able to clean things up on the ground, and now we see nothing but mutas left here.
There's a 360 surround in that last attack.
Oh,
there was units coming from the bottom right and the bottom left, just crushing Hart. But it's what we could expect, honestly, from True. Man, this guy's really good. He doesn't mess around. He knows how to position. Took the perfect amount of time. Was very patient. I love that he actually morphed Banelings in the middle of that fight too, because that way he has like a second round of units. This should be it though. Hart should just GG out and move on to game number 2.
Yeah,
well,
very strong game from True, just like we expect from him.
Man, I mean, super sick that Hart was able to, I would say, like, overall stay in the game, because after that first push, man, it is so freaking hard to be able to keep up with that. Like, to get enough Marines and Marauders to keep up with your opponent, you have to be constantly harassing your opponent. Like, there are little tiny things that I'd love to talk about in detail in like some sort of replay analysis that I'm not going to go into now, but like Hart is doing these little tiny things to keep him in the game, keep him going. Maintain like creep control. That was the number one thing I would say. Maintaining creep control was super sick. And then from there, he was able to have okay fights. As you said, actually perfectly, the Widow Mines. He really needed more Widow Mines, but it's tough when you're behind an economy, right?
Yeah, I mean, True really put on some strong counterattacks on that third, and that just made it difficult for Hart to keep up in his macro. So, well, he's got game 2 to turn things around here. It is a best of 7, so we'll see what happens next. As the players are picking their maps here. Looks like Secret Spring is going to be the decision for Hart.
Pretty good map, I think, overall for Terran, right? Or I should say, pretty good map overall. No, bad map for Zerg. Zerg does not like this map. Zerg hates this map because the third base is so difficult to take.
Yes.
Now, if they are able to take the third base, then taking the third, fourth, fifth base is perfect for them. They can go into this Muta style, which is so abusive. It's hard to push on them, but pre that, I mean, if we see an attack by Hart, excuse me, an attack similar to what Hart did last time, and he takes a third behind that, I have no clue how True goes about dealing with it. My guess is we're going to see 2 base Mutas for True, 2 base Mutas into like 3-4 base. And he just plays like a counter-attacky style the whole time and tries to get a huge mass mutable, or he just goes like full-on Roach all-in, like Roach Zergling Baneling all-in. I think Roach Zergling Baneling all-in happens like 10% of the time, and 90% of the time we see like the mass mutas.
Yeah, the arrangement of the bases on this map leads to a lot of crazy things. Of course, the other thing too that leaves me curious is the splitting of this map with the rocks, with the ability to force that choke in the center. That could potentially come into play too in this game as well. But yes, we are in now game number 2, and this is going to be the opportunity here for Hart to try to tie things up after losing game number 1 on Overgrowth. So, Greetorp, why don't you take it away?
All right, in top right-hand position as the red Zerg, it is, of course, True. Oh, yeah. That's what I was waiting for.
And I have to get that player card out, and then it's like, I have to do that too.
Yes, hashtag production value, bro. And in the bottom left-hand corner, as the blue Terran, down 0-1, it is Axiom's Hart.
So yeah, about that about those production values. The guy who is responsible for making these videos, these player cards, that's our good friend Cybert, who I've co-casted with. So big thanks to him. Fortunately, he's not with us today. He's participating at that LAN in Florida with our manager Beast, who, along with our manager Techno, putting together these events every week here on hitbox.tv/Team Gravity. And then, of course, while I'm at it, I might as well thank Hitbox too, because they only help support us with the sponsorship to provide these prize pools. So, yeah, this is exciting stuff. Week number
Yep.
11, and I'm here casting with Greetorp.
Yeah, I actually know a bunch of the Hitbox guys. Really, really nice guys. Cool guys from NASL, old NASL. The guys that actually worked, I would say. So it's really nice to see they found a nice job, and hopefully all the success with Hitbox, because some of the stuff on Hitbox is pretty cool. The HTML5 obviously very, very important. I think that's going to be the next step. I mean, YouTube already did it, right? So it has to be important.
Yeah, that's right. I think Hitbox is trying to be ahead of the curve in a lot of things, and I hope you guys are finding that experience, supporting that hypothesis for you guys watching today.
Yeah, let's talk about the build orders a little bit here, and I'll go through it. So Zerg is going for the standard, faster metabolic boost. It's not super, super fast. You can get it finished by like 5:45 or something like that. This one will finish in 6 minutes or so. So everything looks standard for Zerg. Reaper expand makes a lot of sense. As we were talking about before, we know that Terran wants to be very, very heavy on denying left 2 base. And Zerg is going to try their best to, eventually get their 3rd base. So getting the Reaper out just allows you to have that extra DPS to stop any sort of thirds from popping up. So let's say there's a third that pops down at 5 minutes and 30 seconds, or 6 minutes or something like that, like Life does all the time. You're going to be able to DPS that down with 2 Reapers or 3 Reapers or whatever it might be. And it should be very, very sufficient.
So do you think as Terran in this situation, should they be inclined to take that early third and get an economic advantage against Zerg, who will have a hard time defending one? Or do you just go very aggressively to deny that 3rd base and, push the envelope?
It depends how cerebral I think my opponent is. If I think they're never, ever, ever taking a 3rd base, I'm getting an extra command center because, well, it looks like that's what's happening. I'm getting the extra command center because I know I don't really need to worry about spatial problems in the early stages. I have my Hellions to stop a lot of the shenanigans from happening in the early stages. I should be able to mass up enough to beat some Roach all-ins. I also have like my Reapers out scouting everything, so they're denying the 3rd base, and I can just set up turrets and then just mass off of 3 bases. I can throw down my at 8:30ish, I can get my 3rd situated in its place. So if I know you're doing like 2 base pressure or 2 base mutas, I'm looking really, really, really good. Now it's a little coin flippy because they could go 2 base roaches, which is does require a slightly different response because it's an all-in. Well, it's an all-in, but it's a little bit different. But still, I think overall, like the 3 command center is more correct if you're going 3 Reapers, because your 3 Reapers are going to obviously DPS enough down. You're actually able to push out at 6:30, whereas if you go straight for Reapers or 1 Reaper and then straight to Hellions, you can only push out at like 7 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and even better is if your Reaper harass can force out some earlier units from Zerg that they don't want to make. That always is going to lead to a better early game for Terran overall if they're trying to get up that 3rd CC.
That shouldn't ever the Hellions and stuff should never be able to force out any type of units in this map in particular, because it's if you look at the main ramp, it's just too tiny. So obviously the queens can just go there, and because obviously it doesn't have it right now. Spire going down, Baneling Nest. This is what we expect, and what we're going to see is Hart just taking his 3rd base, macroing up a ton. This attack probably shouldn't do anything, or it probably shouldn't actually commit, because this represents a lot of the spatial advantage that he has, and denying the 3rd base. He takes his own 3rd base, and we're going to see like mutas pop up, and ordinarily what happens here is that the mutas try to do something, they don't, Terran just masses up, pushes, kills the 3rd base, kills the 4th base, and wins. That's ordinarily what we see. I don't know if we're going to see that here. We'll find out.
All right, we got a Reaper from Hart here trying to find out what his opponent is doing. It's just going to go scout around the back, see the lair. And, you know, if it's this late in the game, even if you don't see the Spire as Terran, you can kind of expect it to be here,
Yeah.
pretty much. So I
Most
think,
importantly, you're not seeing roaches.
yeah,
Because if it was roaches, they would be pumping out right now, or they would
exactly.
already be pumping out. So by like process of elimination, you can say, okay, I'm up against the very standard, 9 minute, 30 second to 10 minute type of mutas. That's normally when they pop out. Mutas don't take that much time to pop out. If you didn't know, 33 seconds. So it's pretty quick here. Turrets are going to go down, pretty standard. Takes the third base at 9:30, so it's like a minute late, but who cares? It's still going to give you that extra mule. It's still going to give you that extra economy, and you're just going to have a roaring production. All he has to do, I think, go up to 7 barracks really quickly. I would say a couple people think about this differently. I like to go up to 7 barracks in this spot, and not go Widow Mines, and then just churn out a ton of units and be able to split. But some people like the Widow Mines and like to do that combination. It's really a stylistic thing.
Yeah, I mean, Widow Mines always are an integral part of TVZ. We didn't see a lot of that from Hart last game in this, but then again, like you said, he didn't quite have the economy to easily support that. But this time around, he hasn't really been bothered much. We'll see if that'll change. But these Mutas first from True are going to try to poke at that natural. Stiff resistance in the form of these 2 turrets, and True's just going to have to find somewhere else to go after.
That's right. And this is perfect. The counter push immediately as the mutas actually make their way over. I love that these Zerglings have broken down the walls. This actually forces the Terran to be a lot more defensive than he wants to be. So these Zerglings, small amount of Zerglings, are going to be able to do some damage here. More than some, a lot. Banelings are going to be morphed to deal with this attack pretty nicely. Obviously, using drones or using SCVs to kill
Lings.
Yeah, brain farted. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, gonna lead
But
to
thanks
some
for the
SCV
pickup.
deaths. Well, sometimes the best defense is an offense, and that's kind of what Hart's living by right here. Pushing with these Hellbats and Marines into this main base. Baneling's not getting the connections they need. Hellbat's still standing strong, but there are Mutas on top, though, but not against these Marines. They can't fight. We're going to see what more Hart can take out here. The gas goes down, drones have been pulled, but the remaining Banelings are able to clean this up, giving these Mutas a chance to take out the non-anti-air units of the Terran.
That's a lot more even than I thought it was going to be. I thought, Hart was actually going to lose that fight a lot more dramatically, but he was able to absorb 2 rounds of Banelings, Baneling productions in that one army, which is always really, really good. So I think actually he's in a pretty decent position, although, obviously clearing up the medevacs and stuff like that, you want to maintain your medevac count, really important stuff. Just because it gives you options a little bit later on. You need those extra medevacs to be able to drop time. But we'll find out how True is going to be able to deal with this, because it's a really scary spot still, man.
Oh my gosh. Sorry to interrupt you there, Greedy Torp, but that was a lot of damage done to the mining here on this 3rd base. And it's funny because I saw Hart, when he backed off with his army, he actually kind of anticipated that the 3rd was going to be attacked, and he went to the 3rd directly. But then he sat there for a little bit and realized nothing was there. So he just sort of started moving towards the center of the map again, and that's when True actually started attacking, and that's kind of why we saw so much being taken out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a little bit indecisive. He thought his bunker was going to be enough, but it's obviously very unfortunate. In this spot, I think we just blow down the rocks in the center and go for the top as Terran. There's no real reason why we should be trying to defend 3 different locations, our natural, the top, and then the 3rd base. I think center pushes, we're not really accomplishing all too much. The creep isn't spread obviously on the top, which we know, but of course Hart doesn't know for sure. But I think it just allows him to have a lot more high priority targets for a little bit later if he pushes to the top than if he pushes now to the middle. We'll find out. Maybe he knows something that I don't. There is a drop though in the top middle.
Yeah, there's a drop over here in that 3rd base, but not a lot. Just 1 medevac full, going to be easy for those Mutas and Ling Bane to clean up.
Oh.
It's interesting that Hart keeps moving in and out through this choke. It's almost like a recipe for disaster if Banelings were to just roll right in this, right?
It's like yes and no, right? Because see, these Widowmine hits are obviously awesome. The Baneling hits are obviously awesome. I don't think it really helps either of the player. A lot of times it's going to stalemate right outside the rocks, just because Zergling Baneling will be able to just crush down, and all you can do really as Terran is back up. So it doesn't really allow you to aggress up. As long as creep spread is good, I think you should be able to stop any of these pushes from actually happening as Zerg. And you need to obviously be careful for overcommitments. Nice little reception here. And should be able to clean up these banelings as well. Yeah, super easy.
Yeah, Hard already splitting that off in anticipation of that run by on the third attempted. Cleaned it up easily.
Yep.
But now Hard is starting to push on to creep again. And he might have a good fight on his hands here. He's up in supply right now, 173 to 157. We'll see, though, what kind of greeting that True will prepare for him here.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell at this point. I think True's big problem here is the fourth base is in the mid-right. So his army is kind of like awkward, where these mutas can't really go and aggress because they need to be so many places at once. Obviously, these small little engagements are going to help out.
That was
that's
a brutal hit there.
No, yeah. But you know, it puts him in a really awkward position where he can never attack as long as Hart is just positioning right and he doesn't lose all of his units. So I think like Hart is actually, I mean, based on what True is doing, I think Hart's playing the much better game. But it's just an unfortunate sequence of events, I think, that happened here for True.
Yeah, True still just in a stalemate here against Hart, trying to really thin out those numbers here from Hart, but Hart is splitting everything. He's preferring that he just lets True walk onto those Widow Mines, and we did see the Mutas take one too many bad hits there.
And a double drop will be received pretty easily here. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, these Mutas are going to just snipe these out before any units can launch from that first. The second one, though, Marines will be landing one by one, but True wants to chase down that medevac.
That's right. And in the meantime, Thor's here, bro. Thor is here. And Hart actually has been able to push forward quite a bit. He's using this timing where the mutas are out of position to actually push forward. Oh my god, Baneling hits so good. So good. But it looks like there's just too much stuff here for Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, right now Hart is splitting everything so particularly well. These Banelings not getting those massive hits they need, but still, though, it's Marine versus Muta, but not as many Marines as the Muta. And the units on the ground will clean up the rest of the Terran units. Hart bringing in another Thor here, but he may need to just rally a little bit more before he pushes through that choke again.
That's right. I mean, Hart really needs a fourth base at this point. Main and Natural are going to be mining out pretty soon. Actually, Main is pretty much mined out. So if you look at the income right now, it's 1560, 1580. We're missing about 500 minerals per minute. Oh, there it is. Well, just naturally, we're missing 500 minerals per minute from his income. So he really needs that, and it's going to suffer for this main base. I like the counterattack coming in here from Zerg, though.
Yep, it's starting to roll and try to bust through that front, but not a lot of ground units to add on to this. So the mutas are going to need to back off for now. Really,
so that's where the
mutas
mutas want to be, right?
Yes?
I'm sorry. That's where the mutas want to be, though. Like, on his opponent's side of the map. Utilize that speed. Utilize your ability to just be everywhere and threaten everything. So I like the fact that Zerg has kind of pushed out into the map and started doing stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely good for map control, no question about that. You know, without towers on this map, I think sometimes it's harder for Terran to easily get vision of things without... I mean, they have to leave, like, a unit here or there, maybe like a Widow Mine burrowed at various choke points, but with the mutas out and about, yeah, you're right.
God. Nice burrowed Baneling, by the way.
Yes.
And you can only do burrowed Banelings if your opponent is playing passive. And one of the things to make them passive is to put mutas out on the map. So I really like what we're seeing so far. Like, it just gives you so many more options, and now mutas, that might be enough to actually kill this. Oh, no.
Especially if the SCVs aren't repairing those missile turrets.
Yeah. But he's fine. And now all of a sudden, I mean, this is a spot where I think Zerg actually has a big advantage. The hard part for Zerg is being able to take their third, take their fourth, and stay alive. But as you can see right now, I mean, it's so hard for Terran now to aggress because of all the counterattack opportunities for Zerg. And we're going to see a very, very one-sided engagement, in my opinion, with True just crushing, man.
Yeah, I mean, the supply lead is growing greater and greater for True right now, 184 to 113 right now. Hart is trying to back into that third with what few units he has remaining, repairing that bunker, but the Baneling's going to blow up every single SCV here, and suddenly the wind has been taken out of Hart's sails.
Man, isn't that crazy? Like, they're both pretty much at 200, and then Zerg just pushes and crushes. Crushes. And normally when I see something like that, I'm saying there's an army composition problem. Like, what is it that we're having similar supplies, and Zerg is able to just crush me so hard? And, you know, a lot of people are like, it's imbalance, it's Zerg's so good, Banelings need to be nerfed. And it's, no. We need to readjust how we're going about that fight. And I think, obviously, we didn't see any Widowmine connections after, like, the first initial ones where Hart was like, oh, that's where your army is. After that, like, he has no AoE, and if you have no AoE, how are you going to stop just the mass Baneling swarm that you know Zerg has? Life is the perfect example of when he has an advantage, he does not care if, you know, he's off creep. He just pushes with so many Banelings, knowing that, hey, if you're not going to get AoE and you're going to rely on Marine Marauder way too much, I'm gonna just crush you, because it doesn't matter how good your splits are. It doesn't matter if your innovation still going to crush you, even though he won at IEM. Innovation did, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Hart, this game, you know, was in a much better spot economically than before, but he might have also just stuck on that third base a little too long as well, which made it harder for him to really, I mean, yes, he was at 200, but just still, like, you know, being able to get out those AOU units, like you say, not as easy to pull off.
Definitely so. I think also, like, the overall goal and plan of Hart was kind of off, because we saw him have success in the center of the map. He was able to push out of the rocks. Now, what does that accomplish? He's able to probably kill the fourth base if and only if True makes it in the mid right-hand position. And that takes a lot of time, and he still wasn't able to kill that. So it means he has a lot less time to actually have that push work, and he needs something of more value. And that's why I was saying, go for the third base and go for the rocks on the top, and just blow down the rocks in the center. And that way you're going to be able to be, you know, it's harder for your opponent to counterattack, and you're actually attacking something of value. And then your drops, if you think about it, if I drop in the main now, I commit so many units over to the like opposite side of where attacks are actually happening. So it makes drops that much stronger, because now we can do stuff with our army. I really feel like just the overall attack, the choice of attack for Hart was incorrect, and it led to True being able to stabilize and eventually just crush him based on the map. Like, that's really how it worked out. It's the map that actually, the map and the attack choices actually affected who won in this particular game, or last game. That's my opinion. I don't know. I might be wrong. I'm very open to interpretation. What's your thought, Mr. Droopy?
Well, I'll say this. On Secret Spring, that's usually a map that I would say helps Terran a lot. Kind of like how we discussed before Game 2. And, well, it wasn't enough, though, for Hart, which is why he is now down 2 games. So, here, for Game 3, he's picking Deadwing LE. And this is kind of a pretty big turnaround, I think, strategy-wise, when we talk about all the nuances of Secret Spring.
Yeah, I would agree to that. To an extent. I mean, I think the most prevalent thing that we see here is Hellion/Hellbat Banshee, Cloak Banshee. The reason for that is because the main is so far away from the natural, and that might not seem like a lot, but holding like Roach Baneling all-ins is a little bit tough. Holding Roach all-ins is really, really tough, and we could put a lot of pressure on with just straight-up Hellion Banshee. So I think we see that a lot of the times. Also, I should probably add that taking a third base for Terran isn't as easy as you would think when you do it super, super fast. A map like Vani Research Station, super easy. Oh, wow, never mind. Throw all that analysis out the window.
Because
does not
some
matter.
metagame here.
Does not matter. And it is 15 hatch, yeah. So it's just double racks. Now, the Overlord is going to the right place. The second one. The second one. So we'll see if he actually scouts it out and is able to not let his opponent know that he scouted it out. But even if he scouts it out, like, what do you do in this position? You have to pull He's not going to do it. Hopefully he goes for the 16 pool. I think that's pretty standard. Oh no. Oh no. He's going for 16 gas, 15 pool.
Oh, yeah. Gas
Oh,
first
no.
here for True, and then the pool.
Okay. Well, let's go to True's FP view and see how he reacts when he scouts this, because that's going to be the most important thing. He is going to see it in like the next couple seconds. And
Now he does.
boom. He
Marine's
still
gonna
hasn't
be out,
looked at it. Oh no, he hasn't seen it. Oh no.
He hasn't seen it? No, he's
Well,
seen
he
it.
saw it now,
He's seen
but
it.
like,
He's seen it, yeah.
but like he gave up like 5 seconds, which is actually pretty important. You wouldn't
Yeah.
think it is, but it's pretty important. He needs it to back his overlord and stuff like that. He will be able to save his overlord on top here.
Ooh, yeah. Barely, though. 45s. Hit points
And drone
left.
pull. Drone pull. And you can see he can't finish his upgrade, obviously. And that's what I was talking about. The gas doesn't help by any means.
Alright, the drone's trying to go for that surround on the Marines. Gonna leave those SCVs to build those
Oh,
bunkers.
what a shoot.
Oh, just slips right through it.
Oh my god.
That was almost Reaper
So-
level of escape there by those Marines.
You could tell that Heart plays League of Legends, bro. The jukes are real.
Oh yeah, the bunker is done now. This first one, 2 Marines inside. The rest of the 3 are still running from the drones, which are very, very far from home now for True here.
Now, all Terran has to do is just mass up in Marines and be able to kite this. And there should be no problems, ever. But we'll
Yeah.
find out. Oh! Okay. I like what we're seeing so far. He's going for the Queen first, which I do kind of like, but the additional Marines are just going to be way too much in the back here. Too much economic damage. Build order win. Great execution by our Terran fan here. And that's all she wrote.
Yep, it's a little beyond the point of no return now for True, and well, that's Hart getting his first victory on Deadwing of, you know, a map we started out talking about how it's more macro oriented in a lot of ways. Well, there goes it.
That's right, man.
But
Rip. I mean, not much to analyze there, right?
no, not at all.
But how sick is that? Heart's like, oh man, I'm down 2-0. What's a good map? Oh, I know, Deadwing. And then he chose Deadwing to double proxy racks it as well.
You know what? This is kind of not unlike your third game against Fenner, you know? Fenner's like, I'm down 0-2. But of course he's Zerg in that situation, but, you know.
Yeah. But we do see Cheese for the first time in Game 3, twice now.
Yes, on Deadwing too, I might
On
add.
On Deadwing. So it's maybe Deadwing, you know, people just don't like in general. It's very polarizing. I like it. I think it's great. I love it.
I feel like there's a lot. There's some element of metagame there though too. Like, oh, everyone likes to macro here. Let's change that in this game and catch them off guard.
Yeah.
Didn't work on you though.
Not so much. Not so much. I think in general, like, that's a bad map. Deadwing is a bad map to six pool. Because, as I was talking about, like, because the distance from the natural to the main, like, it's just so difficult to go for a command center first and, like, be safe about it. I guess it's hard to go command center first in general. But there are some pools that, like, you can get the command center down in time. But I don't want... I'll go into game theory another time. But I think it's not a great map to six pool on. Vani Research Station, I think, is a great map to six pool on because yeah, it's very polarizing. A lot of times they go command center first, and a lot of times you just get the free win. There you go.
Well, while we're on the subject of cheese, what I'm wondering is True gonna maybe exact some revenge in that form on Infernal Pools? Not a great
Bad
map to do it on, but I don't know. We'll just have to see.
Oh, there's a wide range of cheese that can happen, so we never know what we're going to expect. But just because of how big it is, I feel like this is not the best map to be cheesing on.
We'll just have to find out. But let's take a look at their spawning positions, though. That has a huge effect on things. It's going to be the Purple Zerg, spawning on the upper right-hand side of Infernal Pools, and first map choice of the series for this guy after losing Game 3. He's up 2-1. Can he extend his lead? Playing for Dead Pixels. It is True. And on the very bottom right, it is going to be the player for Axiom Esports. Getting his first victory last game. Maybe a little bit of that swagger back. Can he tie it up here in game 4? Is going to be the red Terran spawning on the bottom right by the name of Hart.
Look at you doing not only the introductions, but all the production magic. Wow.
You know what's even crazier? I only have one monitor.
Wow.
That's all tabbing right there for you.
Wow. That's unreal, bro.
Oh, man. But with you here, it makes things a lot easier. So now I get to take a rest.
There you go, man. There you go. All right. Well, this map is obviously... in general, I like to play this map like very, very aggressive as Terran. I think that the third base is just so far away from the natural of Zerg, so putting on pressure makes a lot of sense. Also, like all-ins don't work nearly as well for Zerg, that is. So you can play a lot more aggressively with your medevacs, and what I mean by that is you can actually get it out. You know how we saw the first game with Hart going like the 9-minute medevacs, something like that.
Yeah,
you could
right.
do that on this map as well, and it's a lot more effective because you don't have to worry about some silly roach counterattack, and you're like, oh, I want medevacs, so I don't have a lot of money to actually have a good production cycle and a good amount of units. In this map, it's completely different. I can shut down the third base really easily. I can attack your third and your main base at the same time with drops, which is super scary, and how the positions are, it makes drops so much faster. So it just makes sense to go for something very similar to what we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think this could change a bit if, they were in cross position, but that's not the case. So, yeah, that's absolutely very on point there. I mean, you can just totally toy with the Zerg up and down this cliff here. But first, we're going to see this Reaper potentially toy with the Zerg here. Drone being microed away, weak, very weak, but the Lings pop out in time, almost getting us around the Reaper. But you know what? If Hart's Marines can slip away from a surround like they did last game, I'm sure his Reapers can.
That's right, man. I definitely think so. I mean, Hart, God, he probably has like 1,000 games playing with Reapers. Or more than 1,000, but I'm sure like many, 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 many games. He is going for this 3 Reaper opening, which is important. So very similar to Game 1. Hey, we might see it, man. I'm calling it. I'm right now, I'm Hart's coach, okay? And I'm saying exactly what build he should do. And he's like, yeah, I agree, Andre. Let's do that.
Yeah, he's definitely taking cues from Greetorp here. Wouldn't blame him. What about True, though? What's he up to here? Looks like he's getting speed. He has been mining gas. I don't actually always notice Koreans opening gasless in ZVT. What's your perspective on this?
I don't think it's good. It funnels you down to a really, really, like, easy way that Terran can actually scout you out. It just allows them to know that they're never going to have to worry about an all-in. Like, all-ins are so easy to see coming when you go gasless. When you go for metabolic boost, all your all-ins are merged with all your macro builds. So it's like, oh, it doesn't matter if I have metabolic boost or not. Oh, nice. Double shot and some drones here. And that allows me to play so much greedier. And Fenner is a guy that loves to go gasless. And I loved it. I actually saw it in his replays before that, he loves to do that. I was like, oh, wow. Let's get a 5-minute third command center. That's what I said. 5-minute third command center. It was the easiest time of my life getting that command center, like in holding.
We're going to have these 6 Speedlings in here in the natural, and Hart has these SCVs sitting ducks.
Oh.
And
More than 6, man. This is Zergling all in. Maybe Zergling Baneling. I don't know if Baneling messes up.
Initial 6 joined by many, many more, as you say. So they're all coming over here right now. And, well, we're going to probably see this command center lifted off soon, I would think.
I would hope. There it is. Oh! It's a trap! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hart might be dead here. Hart might be dead here, bro.
Yeah, I think those Lings just got into right position around those Hellions, and these Hellions are going to have to pull back here and kite as long as they can, but a lot of damage has been done.
That's right. It looks pretty good, but it stops him from actually pushing out in the map. And if you think, like, looking at the income tab real quick, it's actually 35 harvesters for the Zerg. So it's not like he's done this off of, like, 21. This could have come a lot earlier, and obviously he would be in a lot worse shape. I will say that Terran's not like terribly, terribly far behind, but this Zergling attack is actually really cool. I think it punishes this Reaper play a lot. And what it's saying is, hey, keep your Hellions at home. That way I can get my third base rather than the Hellions being all the way up at my base super early. Still, we're gonna see like the problems. Well, if okay, the question is, how does Hart go from here to the third base without being counterattacked? And that's why I think having some presence out in the map in the early game stage makes a lot of sense. It's just whether or not like Hart is able to identify, oh, you're not counterattacking me. Okay, well let's kill your third base. And how do you deal with that? I think the only way is like roaches, because going Zerglings, let me tell you, it's not good, man. It's not good. Zerglings are like the worst units you want to go in the beginning stage.
Well, it looks like True is going to stick to them for the time being. Don't see a Roach Warren going down anytime soon. It's already 9 minutes anyway, so he's probably looking beyond that. But he has taken that third over here at the gold. And it's interesting because it's so far away. And it's kind of like what you were saying, too, that if you take the fight to the Terran, then the Terran is not bothering your assets at home. And on a map like this, these Hellions almost getting surrounded. Not quite, though. These Lings are going to be able to still get in a good surround on them, in fact.
It's like game ending right there.
Yeah.
Game ending. And it might actually end right here. I mean, losing this many SCVs. All right.
Yep. Exactly as you put it. And yeah, I mean, he was aggressive that whole time, that whole game. He dialed up all the aggression, and the Terran, beyond those initial Reapers, never made a push. 9 minutes in. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, he definitely couldn't because of the trade, but I mean, when you look at that game, you think it's really silly, but there's a lot of things that's like, if you're actually in Hart's position, there's a lot of really intelligent things that True's doing. It's like, oh my god, okay, I'm doing this 3 Reaper attack, and I'm killing a lot of drones. I'm keeping a lot of tension off, and then you do the Zergling attack against me. And remember, how many Marines are at home? 0, right? 0, because it's been constant Reaper production. And then how many Hellions are at home? Doesn't matter. There's only going to be 2 Hellions because you get a delayed factory. So a delayed factory and a delayed reactor. So he's utilizing like that production line to actually and being able to be aggressive, knowing that the Reapers have to go back and be defensive. The number one thing when you're going this 3 Reaper opening is you want to eventually go back at like 6:15, 6:30 when you know metabolic boost attacks can happen. You want to go back and defend and then join up with your Reapers. And we didn't see that, and he got really, really punished. That's just a clear indicator of like Hart being a little bit too greedy with his attack and hoping that True's not being comprehensive with his like metabolic boost and getting out enough Zerglings.
Yeah, this kind of brings me back to something you were saying early in that game number 4, and that was how sometimes your build order is not just about you trying to get out certain units, for your own preference, but also not telegraphing to your opponent what you're trying to do and leaving yourself to get exploited, because that's kind of what Hart does when he opens with that 3 Reaper. He's telling the other guy, hey, I'm going to go 3 CC, I'm not going to have a lot to defend. And then, as far as True's concerned, he's ready to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one of the big problems of going something like 3 Reapers. Your build is completely telegraphed. Like your opponent, if they play Terran or if they like understand the race really, really well, you will know exactly what they're doing. I think True is displaying like a very clear understanding of not necessarily super amounts of skill, but a lot of preparation. Like the amount of games that you need to put in, the volume, the amount of like just knowing your opponent's race, knowing what the counters are, knowing what the weaknesses are. He's exploiting and abusing all the little things that Hart's doing. And it's been like razor thin a lot of times. Like game 1 was razor thin on Overgrowth. Game 4 over on Infernal Pools was honestly pretty close, and he's able to just get ahead a little bit every single time and be able to just crush his opponent at the later stages, because I think he has just a clear understanding. I haven't seen any mistakes by our Zerg player just yet.
Not at all, and that's why he's up 3-1, guys. This is match point now. It's a best of 7, and well, the winner's gonna take home $60, the loser 20. So as far as True's concerned, he's going to try to close things out here so you can, I guess, tease Hart in that gaming house of theirs for the rest of the day. But I guess right now we'll have to settle for Game 5 here on Catalina LE. And this player right now, I'm looking at, it's up to him now to pull off a good several games in a row because he's right up against the wall here. It's the player for Axiom Esports, Blue Terran in the 9 o'clock position of Catalina LE, guys. We do have here Hart. And over in the 1 o'clock, this is going to be the Red Zerg. Chance to close things out with a 4-1 victory. We'll see if he can manage to pull that off. Playing for Dead Pixels is the Zerg True.
All right, Catalina. It's a big map. A lot of expansions, man. A lot of expansions. I think overall, it really comes down to how aggressive Terran wants to be. I think this map actually favors Terran because of the third base location. Because it juts out in the center there, you're capable of having much, much shorter push distances, which obviously makes it a lot easier to kill critical things. On this map in particular, can you see my pings actually, or can they all see my pings? Do you know? Am I ref?
You are ref, but I am not seeing your pings.
Okay. Well, I didn't ping yet, but
Oh.
if I'm a ref, they might be able to see my pings. I forgot how it works, so I'm not going to do it. But actually, if you want to go on my cam, that'll actually help. This location right outside the Zerg base is going to be the main focal point of contention. Terran wants this spot a lot. The third base being taken over here is a big mistake for Zerg. It should always be over here, and the fourth base should be over here in the mid right-hand position. This spot is where Terran can push to, and this distance isn't that far away from the third base of Hart. So if you push here, you can just siphon off anything that goes to the third base or the fourth base, and you'll be able to kill them eventually. That means you have to play a slower style in general and make sure you're taking creep. That means you're probably going to have to play a much more Widowmine-centric focused type of game. So that's what Hart needs to do. He needs to make sure that he has his Widowmines staying alive, defends them as much as possible, and just does slow pushes and just takes out creep until he gets to that area. That's his win condition. Zerg, I don't know. I don't know what Zerg can do really on this map. You have to go for like counter-attacking styles as much as possible.
Yep, and it is difficult for Zerg to handle everything, even starting from the beginning of games here with Reapers coming in and out. There's so many locations, too, in the main base that you can just run in a circle around and around, and it doesn't look like Hart is going to deviate from that plan of making multiple Reapers to start his games. He's got a second one on the way right now, but he's already...
Sorry, I want to mention something really quickly because it's super fast gas. So this might be something similar to what we saw before. This metabolic boost is coming out really quickly, like 5:45-ish, 5:30-ish maybe. I don't even know. It looks like it's coming out in 5:30. Wow, like this is super fast. This is the same build that a lot of people would do if they're going like 14 pool, 15 hatch. Or 14 pool, 14 gas, 15 hatch, something like that. It's just super brutally fast. So there's a lot of metabolic boost timings that he could potentially have if he wants to use it. But look at the, well, no. I was going to say, look at the Reapers. They're playing a lot more defensive. I guess he learned from last game.
Yeah, that's actually something that I don't really see that often on Catalina. A lot of players like to just toy with the Zerg with the Reapers on this map, but Hart actually going to be on the back foot here. Is True is armed with speed already. He's getting his lair, in fact, as well in that main base. Let's see if he decides to take those additional gases to complement that.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? He gets the lair so fast. I'm not sure what that's for. Very surprised to see Banshees on this map. I mean, Banshees are always good on like maps where you have to expand really far away. So I'm not, I guess I shouldn't be super surprised. Wow, it's a mind game, bro. Super big mind game. It's a Viking popping out here.
Yeah, indeed. And the Overlord from Hart, or Overlord from True, did spot that. So indeed, it is a fake out tech lab, at least for now. We do have the third command center finished up for Hart here, but Roach is actually going to be in play here for True. Early lair. Oh, and a Nidus. He's looking to put down a Nidus in that main base. This is a curveball here being thrown by the Zerg.
Definitely makes sense. But this Viking should come out big. This is the way you. It's weird to say a Viking is the way you defend against the Nidus Worm, but I think. But you know, if you deny a lot of Overlord coverage all across the map, how are you going to put down that Nidus Worm? So I feel like the Viking is actually going to be super, super huge. We have to see though where the attack path is, and this should be a trigger right now. Hellions get in here and see 8 minutes and 20 seconds. You're doing either a two-base like roaches or two-base mutas. Which one are they? And remember what I was talking about? You get in around like 8 minutes, and roaches should be out. Oh,
Oh, Banshee sees it.
GG, yeah.
So, yeah, a Banshee was eventually made here by Hart, and it's actually come in handy. The order of the air units just played out perfectly for the Terran.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Second Nidus. And Niduses are expensive too, I might want to add.
Yeah, man.
100 gas every time. And so blowing that away on 3 Niduses, this one at the top will probably be successful. No, actually, Hart's going to send everything up there as well.
How does he know?
I don't know.
Jeez, what a hacker, bro.
I don't know, but he found it. And, oh, these Lings still find a way to get in here, though.
Does it really matter, though?
No, not with these Hellions coming in afterwards, but a nice
They
attempt by
still
True.
make Hellions of all units. Because let me tell you, Hellions are not the best units against Roaches. But I guess Roaches aren't the best units against Banshees.
Well, Hart does have the added benefit of armory, so he could turn these into Hellbats. But we'll see how that's going to work for him in this defense. Roaches are now attacking that bunker. Not enough repair going on there. Some of those SCVs just derping behind. So we'll see. Still Hellions for now, though.
Alright. Things look okay. Marauders on the way. I think this is going to be very easily defended. I don't think there should be anything that's done. We should probably move on to the next game pretty soon here. Because one Queen is not going to be enough to deal with 2 Banshees. And then from here, I mean, what can you really do as Zerg? I mean, he might stick with it because he thinks, like, you know, he can outclass his opponent. But even the counterattack push out of this is so scary if you are Zerg. If you are Zerg. Just Hellbats, Banshees, deny a 3rd base. That's completely fine as well.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts that there just isn't a lot of anti-air from the Zerg. I mean, there's Queens, but only 2 of them. And then, really, what are the Roaches going to do against those Banshees? Nothing, really.
That's right.
And if these Hellions become Hellbats, it's going to make the push that much stronger combined with the AoE from the Widow Mines.
That's right, man. And I guess his solution is going to be Hydralisks. Hydralisks, he's just going to go into Roach Hydra, which makes a little bit of sense right now. I mean, he's clearly behind. He's probably, like, I would guesstimate a minute behind his opponent. And, you know, if Hart keeps making mistakes like what we have seen in the past, there's a definite... I shouldn't have called it. There's a definite way that that Zerg can kind of be okay in this game.
Yep, and it's going to be he's going to start by having to take map control here with the Banshees in pursuit of these Roaches on the Octopus. Going to have these Hellions from Hart back off into that 3rd for a little bit there. True finally going to be able to take that 3rd base a lot later than he'd like, I'm sure of it, at 13 minutes. But he hasn't been touched just yet, really. The Terran has not really attempted to attack or harass True.
That's right. By the way, he has 6 Roaches inside of his Nidus Worm. I don't think he knows. It's pretty important, bro.
Yeah, and you know, when is he going to revisit? When is he going to revisit using this Nidus again? It has to come in handy later if the Terran makes his attack.
What race do you play?
I play Protoss.
Okay. I was gonna ask you. Well, I can still ask you. Like, what do you think about just Nidus Worm in like the mid-end game stage? Do you think there's like any way that it could be used too effectively?
Well, it just kind of depends how late stage the game is, right? And that seems like a weird question, but it's more like, are players maxed? Are they going to have room for reinforcing units to help defend? Or because if a player gets caught on the wrong side of the map and then you just get that sneaky Nidus in and they see it but it doesn't matter, then yeah, it could come in handy. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, this is like a counter timing, I think. I think actually Zerg wins this. I might be wrong. He needs the 6 extra Roaches though, that's for sure. But Hydras do so much damage, man. We'll see with these Widowmine shots and stuff like that. And just his effectiveness. Wow, nice. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, that was a fairly good
Pretty good,
hold, I
man.
have to say, by True. I mean,
Pretty good.
yeah, the Hydras were basically the Roaches tanked a lot for the Hydras, and then
Yeah,
at the end, it's the Hydras left standing. Great, they're with their massive DPS. Can't complain if you're the Zerg. So that was
definitely
a
not.
fantastic hold there by True.
I would agree to that. I mean, Hydras are just such great all-purpose, units where they're able to just DPS down everything, literally everything. They're super scary in this matchup, and I've been struggling with them a lot. Ordinarily, like I'm always getting like Marines to deal with them, but I'm finding out that Marauders are the key way to deal with this unit composition. Just because the Marauder has more hit points than two Marines, and you're capable of obviously killing the Roaches a lot faster to get to the money unit. But still, it's a scary position for the Terran now, because he was ahead, and now the supplies have evened out, which is pretty natural, I would say overall. But Zerg is -6 Roaches, man. Will it make the difference? That's 8 supply. That's not. I'm sorry. That's 12 supply. That's not nothing.
Yeah, eventually he's got to come. He's got to say, But then once you have so many units, you can't even easily say, hey, this does not look like 200 supply to me. What I have right now.
How sick is that, man? Like, I'm sure these players are like, man, I'm missing 12 supply. Where the hell is it? Let me check my dice roll. I'm sure these players could actually see that. They're like, wow, this army doesn't look as big, but it's not by that much. Maybe I just made too many drones. I'm sure that goes into their head too.
Yeah, especially now that True is a fourth base, starting to put drones on that. I'd like to see Hart, be a little more aggressive here, start denying some of these expansions here. But he's going to have to go for the big battle instead right now, burrowing the Widow Mines, and that's going to send True back.
Yeah, not enough Roaches in this composition. Looks like he's going to be able to push through everything and just win.
Yeah,
this is a pretty critical timing, by the way. It's the 2-2 timing, and his opponent didn't have 2-2. It was just finishing.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it wasn't just a quantity issue, it was a quality issue as well. So that was a very strong push there in the end by Hart, and kept True from coming back there. So score is now 3-2, and Hart is back into this one.
Still match point, but yep, as you said it's a little bit better for Hart. I mean, he did get a build order win for all intents and purposes. It looked a little bit scary at that mid game stage, but looks like he was able to pull through. Looks like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say he did set himself up pretty well when he held that Roach timing early on, that all-in, essentially. But yeah, he did give a window there for True to come back, but I guess he closed it right when he needed to at the end there.
Yeah.
So
He just said, okay, I have 2-2 on max, let's just push. Hopefully my macro is a lot better than my opponent. Because a lot of times, like that second push is actually going to be successful because to defend against the first push, they needed to cut drones at their third base. So a lot of times he's like, okay, well, maybe my second push will work, and let's just try to stress test my opponent. And honestly, just massing up to 200-200 a lot of times will be able to beat Roach Hydra. You just have to have that advantage, and looks like he did. Oh, I might play against True. I can crush this guy.
And the other thing too is that the lack of Roach. Now, I'm not going to say this would have made the difference because of the big upgrade difference, but at the end there, the lack of Roaches, there were 6 in that Nidus Swarm.
Yeah. Yep. It's not nothing, as we talked about. It's not nothing. I mean, who knows? Maybe the 6 Roaches would have been the game difference. Yeah, maybe.
Indeed. All right, well, we're heading into a pivotal game number 6 here. Of course, it's match point, therefore it is pivotal, but it's an opportunity for Hart to push this to 7. Could get pretty crazy if that happens, so let's see. But you know what, for now, I want to thank you guys for watching so far. Hitbox, Gravity combination, this team effort to put together a show for you guys week after week. Fight night number 11, and we have Greetorp here casting with me, which is obviously fantastic. And if you guys aren't here watching it on hitbox.tv/teamgravity, make sure you do that, because we got fantastic features here for you. There's something called a poll in this chat, something you may not have seen in other streaming services. And let's take a look at that poll. Who do you think will win? I'm just going to say True, just so I want to see the results. Actually, 57.9% people think Hart is actually going to make the comeback here. What do you think about that, Greetorp?
I would not. I would not be betting on Hart. That's for sure.
Ooh.
I'd be betting on True right now. You could give me odds, and I would still bet on True. Like you can give me like 3-1, or I will give you 3-1 odds. I'll take a 3-1 on True for sure. For like $20, $25. No, $33. Let's make it so I have to pay out 100.
Well,
So
this
yeah.
is Expedition Lost Ellie for Game 6. Certainly that has to play a factor in who has a better chance here, right?
Yeah, it's a terrible map for Terran. Terrible map. I vetoed this map because it's so bad. Oh, I should probably talk about it. Oh, let's introduce the players first, and then I'll talk about it.
All right, that sounds good. All right, I'll do it. So on the upper right-hand side, guys, is going to be the player who, just couldn't quite finish things up in the previous game, game number 5, but has another chance here to close things out before we get to very scary ace match. It's going to be the purple Zerg, upper right-hand side, playing for Dead Pixels. He is up 3-2. Let's see if he can finish it here, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here True.
I love the build order, by the way, but we'll introduce his opponent.
All right, let me quickly do that then. It is going to be the red Terran on the bottom left. Still down 3-2, but maybe with a little more momentum after that Game 5 victory. Playing for Axiom Esports, guys, it is going to be the player Hart.
Okay, what is one thing that we haven't seen in this Terran's play? It's a scout after the barracks. So normally when the barracks finishes, that same SCV goes and scouts your opponent. And because he's not doing this, he's not able to identify whether or not he should put his command center on the high ground or the low ground. So what Zerg is saying is, hey, let's get a slightly delayed expansion, get our spawning pool out, potentially stop this command center from going up, but it looks like because he got a delayed spawning pool, not like a 12 pool or something like that, he won't be able to do that. But what he's going to be able to do is lift this up and then burrow a unit underneath, or he could just lift it up and just maintain map control. That's fine too. Either of those two. But it really, really puts a lot of pressure on Terran a lot of the times, and they just do not like it at all. This first Reaper gets in here, and he should know right now that he needs to be super careful. Look at that. He just goes back and says, okay, this is a timing where I know you should have the hatchery finished, and because it's not finished, even though it's like 300 hit points behind, even though it's not finished, I know that's enough time for you to get Zerglings out in the map. I know you could have had Zerglings stopping this. Now, normally this is gasless, so True is actually doing another level on top of this where it's like, okay, normally you're used to defending against this when it's gasless. Let me go ahead and get a super fast metabolic boost. So this will finish at like 5 minutes, 5:15, anywhere around there, and he's going to push off of this. And now there's going to be another situation where he cancels it, but he's not making Zerglings. So I don't know what's going on in this game anymore. I have no clue. Don't ask me. I don't know this game. Like, why get such a fast metabolic boost if you're not going to use it, you know? Why?
Yeah, and it's about to finish, and now he's going to go right into Lair again. So this is kind of similar to last game. We saw the very quick Lair out of True, and then, of course, where he decides to go from here, we got to look at the gases he's going to possibly take in mind. Last time he went right into Roach, it didn't work out for him on Catalina. I don't know if he's going to try to attempt that here and if he should.
Yeah. Not feeling... I don't know, man. I don't know what True's doing. But it looks like it's just going to be fast. No, not even fast mutas. I think you're right with the Roaches. The reason why it's not fast mutas is because you immediately get your second gas when you go and take your lair. And then you get double gas directly afterwards. Well, he's getting a third gas, no fourth gas.
There's a
I don't know what
nest
this build
as well.
is, man.
There's a Baneling Nest as well here. So, if it is
Is
going
this
to
a
be
Zergling
Roach,
Baneling all in?
at-
With like
ooh.
centrifugal hooks?
that's not something that's very common, I'll say that.
I know. No, it can't be. The Overseer is being made. Doesn't make sense to do that. I don't know what this is. I have no clue.
Well, let's talk about something that's more familiar to us then. We do have the third CC from Hart morphing into
I
that
think it's
orbital
so
there.
interesting though. Like, I mean, obviously he's a pro player,
Yeah,
right? Like,
of course.
he knows something, and he has a reason why he's doing this. And I just don't know why. I can't put it together. He's actually going Aspire after this, which is a delayed Spire. Like, it's not the fastest Spire that you can get. And
no
he's still
fourth
on three gas.
Yeah, no fourth gas.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, he's going to go ahead and take a third. He's got the minerals to manage that. He's got quite a few lings out as well, so I'd have to think he's going to put on some kind of pressure here with the Baneling Nest out and whatnot. But we're going to see Hart actually look to make the first moves here. Hellions roaming out to the center. The Lings of True not returning home. They're going to go to the bottom as well.
Oh, rip. Rip,
Yep.
Queen.
Yep. Unfortunate ending for the Queen there, taking out one of the Creep Tubers as well. Hellions now going to head into that third base. Not quite done yet. No real reason to just camp there and shoot. But True now, though, looking to make his Bane bust.
It is a Bane bust, but he has to be careful because the Hellions are coming home and Hellbats are operational very soon here. And this should be a pretty big indicator also to True. He should not be trying to engage against this when he sees so many Hellbats. There's only one thing that his opponent can be doing. But, wow. That actually gives him enough time to get his mutas out. I mean, is True just a genius here? Does he, like... I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know this game.
Well...
I thought I did, man. I have no clue how these guys are coming to the conclusions that they're coming to. But this is like a really clean defense by True yet again. Razor thin again, but it's a clean defense, and he's using aggression for defense as well.
You know, what's also great, too, about Razor Thin sometimes is you didn't do too much. You did exactly what you needed to do, right?
Exactly. Super
and now, we got some Lings in Heart's base, and his Hellions are just on the wrong side of the map, so these Lings are going to get in some good kills on those SCVs. 12, in fact, have been killed so far this game, and Hart has yet to kill a single drone. He hasn't actually moved in at all with these Hellions. Not a huge amount. Now down to just a handful of these Hellbats.
Wow. This is so much damage. And, of course, the Hellbats will go over to the third base to try to clear that up, but I think the mutas should... Well, that's a lot of hit points, man. We'll see. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop this.
No, I don't think he will. He's got 6 mutas now. They're on their way over, but no, these Hellbats are just a little too resilient.
Well, yeah.
Well, you stop attacking the hatchery.
Yeah, I have no clue why he would do that.
He's
110. No, he wouldn't have finished it, actually. It only did 110 damage to the spine crawler. So, if you subtract it, there's still 100 hit points left.
Yeah.
But,
suppose.
I mean, obviously, terrible position for Terran to be in.
Yeah, I
and
mean...
his mech.
Well, a couple Thor are going to pop, so I don't think these mutas should be doing too much. A couple Vikings going to help out as well. But, yeah, the difference between killing that third hatchery and not killing it, of course, is massive, especially when you look at the damage that's been dealt to Hart by True with that Ling run by.
That's right. Infestation Pit's going to go down, Evolution Chamber as well. So it looks like we're going to go to our favorite unit in the world, the Swarm Host. Boys and girls, are you excited? I'm so excited. Can't you hear? So excited. I mean, I don't know what to expect. I'm not really a mech specialist. I've tried to delve into it as much as possible just to have experience with it. I just don't know what to think of it just yet. I don't know if it's going to be good on this map. I want to say it's going to be pretty okay with amount of ramps there are and stuff like that. And I just don't know how he's able to like say like, oh yeah, this is a correct attack with three Thors and 5 Hellions and 4 Vikings. Like, yeah, I should definitely be doing this attack. Like, to me, this seems suicidal. But I don't. Obviously, Hart knows exactly what he's doing.
Well, I don't know. Let's look at the composition that True has right now. He's got a lot of Lings. Some Banes are being morphed. Well, he has actually quite a lot of Banes. So the Thor, let's see if they can tank. Keeping those Hellbats alive is crucial, obviously, to deal with the ground units. Looks like the Thor are still alive here as the Hellbats and Hellions are cleaned up.
Yep.
And then what can the mutas do about this? Nothing.
You can do nothing, man. So, I mean, obviously the... Well... Yeah, it's still really tough. Normally, roaches are the key choice after this. I like the mutas going in the center, though. He will be able to pick off like a siege tank. Wow, that's pretty good.
And maybe a second one.
Maybe 2 siege tanks,
he doesn't turn around, though. He's going to just go to that natural, get some SCV kills, which is good, too.
Yeah. So he actually defends it by killing the supply. And a nice little attack over at the third base, obviously. Ah, it's pretty smooth, honestly. And now he can get Swarm Host out, now that he's gotten a lot more time dealing with that push. Still, I mean, I'm actually going to give the game to Hart right now. He's slightly ahead. But I just don't know how well these Swarm Hosts will do, especially because he's going so Thor heavy. Hart is going so Thor heavy. I don't know why you would go this Thor heavy. You normally just get the bare minimum to defend against the air, which is 2 is fine, but he's going up to 4. Opportunity cost there is siege tanks, which are very important against Swarm Hosts. Clearly.
Yeah, definitely, and also helping out with the Lings and Banes as well. Looks like Mutas from True still looking like they want to take that map control, buy some time. But we also see some Hellions looking to do a run by here on this third. This is not going to be easy for True to, or not going to be easy for Hart to do anything with those.
No, definitely not. I like the Banelings coming at the third base. Makes a lot of sense. I like killing down the ice block in the top left-hand corner of Hart's base. So this is like the #1 reason why Terrans hate this map, and it's because of that. The fact that you have to defend against so many areas when you take your third base. You have to defend against this area, you have to defend against your third, you have to defend against your natural. And then you want to push some more? Like, where do you get the audacity to think you can cover that much area and be have an advantage when the attack comes? I could not answer that.
Yeah, and it makes it all more curious, the decision to go with Mech on this map, right? Because if you go by, you have way more mobility. You can, defend your various assets a lot more easily. But with Mech, you're gonna leave something undefended, unprotected.
Yeah. And when things are unprotected, Terran don't do too well. I mean, maybe if he PFs everything, but look at this, like, how are Zerglings able to deal with anything on the field when there are Hellions and Hellbats? And he's able to do it because of this map. It's just a nightmare a lot of the times. Zergling's able to come into the third base, pretty much deny completely. Siege Tank will get here, but that's a lot of SCVs to be losing. 52 SCVs dying here.
Yeah.
And it's counting. It's counting.
Yep, and the third base is completely dead now, including the mules that are landed there. And really, at this point, Hart has no choice but to just continue forward in what is hopefully a death push for his sake.
Yep, that's what he's hoping for. We'll see if it actually happens. I mean, Swarm Hosts are a good unit, or so I've heard.
Yeah, and with the tanks unsieged, that's going to make it harder to deal with the Swarm Hosts. Hart just going for that extra DPS, but I don't know. This is, well, the Banshees actually are what's going to be able to push back those Swarm Hosts with the scan, so that's going to be a positive development for Hart, but still, he needs to do a lot more, or else this all-in is not going to work for him.
That's right. I think Zerg is going to be okay here. It looks very scary, obviously, but another round of Swarm Host waves will be able to do the trick, as long as he micros everything right. Unfortunately, he could have stopped these Banshees. He actually made a round of Mutas to deal with that air, but he just sent them into the Thors and then died. So they're going to trade back and forth here. It just depends whether or not he's able to maintain his Swarm Hosts, obviously. And I think he should be able to. Yeah. Looking good. Another round of waves. I mean, this army that the Hart's pushing out with, it isn't actually that big. It didn't have a lot of siege tanks altogether, although True is just suiciding units out. Really unfortunate.
These Banshees, though, are still doing a lot of work over here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're taking out Swarm Hosts one by one. They have, 9, 12 kills to their name right now. But Hart might want to microwave from that sport.
And yeah, True is actually messing up with his rallies. Like, his main base and his natural was rallying over to the third base the whole time. And he was getting punished pretty hard, man. Like, he probably lost 2 or 3 production cycles of units because he just wasn't paying attention. and now there's just not enough Swarm Host to deal with this. Now I really think True botched this super hard. Super hard.
Yeah, you know, the interesting thing about this setup that Hart has here, it's like right in between that third and the natural, and it's just kind of a great place to really contain your opponent. And
yeah.
When you make rally mistakes like the one you just described, you throw away a lot of units. Your units are basically on move command, almost, when you just have them rally through a contain like this. And that's kind of why suddenly True now is falling apart.
Yeah. It's really a shame because obviously I think True was in a winning position, but now Hart, as you said, able to take this money location. And think, this is actually the money location that I was talking about with Catalina, right? Very similar type of structure where you take this center ground between the natural and the third base, and then you just run them dry. It's a slow push. All you have to do is slowly aggress up on your opponent to the third base, to the fourth base, and then be able to take them out. You don't have to like expedite everything because you have a win condition, and Zerg doesn't have a win condition. They just have to stop the push, and then they have to deal with everything afterwards. So I like what we're seeing so far. Natural being taken out, and then the next objective should be the third base, very clearly.
Yeah, and you know what's insane about this too? Look at that workers killed count. 64 by the Zerg. 64. But you know what? There's that one composition of Terran that can withstand something like that. And it's this one we're seeing right now.
Definitely, man.
These mutas are going to attempt a flyby onto the bottom. Meanwhile, that upper left base of True going to be taken out by Banshees. So what can these mutas accomplish here in this counter flyby? Well, kill off a Banshee. That's always a nice pickoff. But there are some missile turrets here. SCV is going to repair that. And I think those mutas won't be able to get too much more done.
Yep, this should be just push in, kill the third, and then just win. He knows he's like super far ahead. He knows he doesn't have to worry. Just play comprehensive. Make sure that you have everything covered. I love the fact that he's over-making turrets over on the third base, just saying like, okay, there's going to be no tech way for you to kill me. Swarm Host obviously being eliminated by those Banshees. Looks good. Looks good for Hart, man. He's super aggressive with this mech. It's not something that we normally see on the NA scene, although there's only like 2 people that do it on the NA scene, and one of which is very clearly despised.
Yeah, let's leave the rest unsaid there. But you know, the other interesting thing is the Thor. The fact that Hart really invested in Thor so much earlier on, and really added the tanks on afterwards. I think perhaps that may encourage him to be more aggressive because he knows that mutas can't just hard counter his army. Maybe that's the reasoning.
I think this is again like it might be he knows his opponent doesn't like to go to roaches because normally the transition out of mutas is to go to roaches, not to go to swarm host. Of course, swarm host is good. The thought process is okay, my mutas are going to keep you busy for a little bit until I can get enough swarm hosts out to just stop you. But normally you go mass roaches to stop those pushes from happening, the Thor push and stuff like that. And the Thor push just came at a really unfortunate timing for True, and he got caught off, and from there it's just Hart was able to maintain his advantage. And now flying over here, it's not going to be enough. Not going to be enough.
It's a YOLO moment. No amount of magic boxing is going to make that work. So GG from True there, and my oh my, we have an ace match on our hands.
It's an ace match. I'm still going with my boy True, though. I think he's going to take it.
Well, right now, it's looking like the fans here in the chat right now may be onto something, thinking Hart can come back, but Greetorp has something else to say about it, so we'll see who gets the upper hand here. But we have another poll, guys, for you guys to check out. How does this series end? Will True win it? Will Hart win it? Well, I guess only the last 2 options make sense now, because it's going to be a 4-3 decision, but make your voices heard before Game 7's underway, man. This is going to be a good finish. I know it.
Do you know what map it is? I can't actually think of it.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be that last one.
Let me see.
Over...
I should know.
No, did they already do Overgrowth?
Saw Overgrowth. That was game 1. Let's see. Expedition Lost Secret Spring. Vanny Research, or Vani.
Really?
I like that map, man. It's one of my favorite maps, TVZ. One of my favorite maps, TVZ.
It's a good Terran map.
Yep. The reason why I like this map so much is because the natural is actually a trap, man. The natural is the biggest trap because It's all the way in the top right or bottom right hand position, and it's the farthest from the third. And normally, as Terran, you're putting pressure on the third base or on the fourth base. So if I drop your natural, it's like the farthest away. So it takes a while for you to react. That means you have to have units in position. So if I ever scan your natural and see units in position, I'll just be like, okay, I don't drop, and I'm just going to keep drilling, knowing that I have the unit advantage over at the third base. And if you don't have units over there, I'm going to drop, and then you're going to be forced into mistakes because I'll kill drones, I'll kill a lot of stuff, and I'll be able to do some magic, some magic. I killed Fenrir's hatchery in my not Deadwing game, my Vani Research Station game, all because of the map, man. It's just the map. You got to play the map and the player, and then have good macro. You know what I'm saying? Just got to do it. Just got to go.
Well, you went bio that game, and Hart went mech last game, so we'll see what he decides to do here. But I would
he's
be
going
hard,
bio.
Yeah, I'd be
We
hard
don't
pressed
go.
to see
We don't go mech
bio.
on this map.
Yeah.
No. We do not go mech on this map.
All right. Well, we're gonna head right into things here, and this is the ace match, guys. It all comes down to this: $60 to the winner, 20 to the loser, and that's a $40 difference. So it ain't too shabby. You want to win it if you take it to game 7. So. We're headed for an explosive finish.
Cannot wait, man. Cannot wait. I think the last game had a lot of mind games going into it, honestly. That's why it's so hard to be like, oh man, these guys are bad, or these guys are good, or these guys like don't know what they're doing. It's because they're constantly trying to level each other, And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, like try playing rock, paper, scissors against someone that knows what they're doing. It's like, oh, well, I know you love to go rock, so I'm going to go paper, but he's going to go scissor because I know that he likes to go paper. It's just a nightmare of problems. So, it's what happens whenever you're playing someone for a long period of time. I played Mario for like 30 games straight or something like that. HTO Mario, if you guys don't know who he is. And, the amount of like leveling wars that we had, like I did a 4-gate fake into a 4-gate, which doesn't make sense, but I made it look like I threw down proxy pylons all over the place. I canceled them to make it look like I wasn't actually 4-gating, and then I 4-gated him, and then I won the game. It sounds really stupid, but it works. It's how I won the game, And that's what happens with two friends like this, two people that have played so much. They just level wars each other.
Yeah, and it all started really, the curveballs really started with that proxy 2 racks on Deadwing, right? So yeah, Hart's really he's really battled back here, and he's poised to potentially win this. We'll see. Score is 3-3. Let's introduce the players. We do have the red Terran player on the very bottom, and it was not looking so hot for him, but like I said, after being down 0-2, he's found his groove here. So let's see if he can close things out. It's the red Terran player for Axiom Esports. We have the player by the name of Hart. And at the very top is going to be the purple Zerg playing for Dead Pixels. He's had a couple opportunities to close things out now and didn't take advantage of them. So I have to think, is he on tilt now? Is he a little concerned? We'll find out, though. It is going to be the purple Zerg. True.
One thing about True is he has not been economically greedy at all. Man, if I were True, I'd be like throwing down 3 hatch before spawning pools so many times, just because I know my opponent. Well, I guess not. But I would at least incorporate it. Maybe not in Game 7. So I take it back. But I mean, this is a map where I think Command Center First exists a lot of the times. Although Reaper exists too, but I like Command Center First on this map. I think it's the better build overall, just because you can wall off super easy and defend your main and natural, which is not normally something that you can do. Take Overgrowth, where you have to defend the natural position, and you have to defend against the main position. So I kind of think that True. I don't know if this is the case, but in general, you'll play a more standard conservative style when you think you're a better player than your opponent. You won't try to get these like huge advantages on your opponent because you know you could just outplay them in the mid-game stage. I'm not saying that he thinks that, but he's thinking that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, and it's not always a horrible thing to play aggressive, though, when you're on Bonnie Research Station, because remember, we saw True take the fight to heart on Inferno, right? A map where, you know, getting dropped is just a pain in the butt. And this is most certainly a map that could be described that way as well. So you take the fight to the Terran, you might keep the Terran a little busier at home, not doing, you know, that map bias stuff that he would like to do. So I don't know. We'll see what path True chooses.
That's right. We will. Third command center coming down really, really quickly. I love this build. He's doing my build, bro. Except he gets the supply depot before the command center. What a fish, bro. You could have gotten this out like 25 seconds faster if you just went command center then depot. I've done the math. I've worked it out. It's definitely the build to go. I'm telling you. That's for sure.
That's why you're their coach, right?
One day, man. One day. I'll be in GSL or SPL or whatever. And it's not to play. It's to coach. That would be very exciting. That would be really cool.
Well, again, from True, we do have the quick lair, 1 gas only so far. As I say that, the second's being taken. And, you know, last game, we were perplexed, right, by the build from True as far as going with the later gases despite the early lair. But this time around, he's taken all 3 of them. Yeah,
it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It most likely is going to be mutas. You don't need 4 gases if you're going to go roach opening. Although you could for like a Nidus Network type of deal. But I highly doubt he goes Nidus Network just based on the fact that he got the Baneling Nest out. Normally you won't get the Baneling Nest out because you're just trying to play super, super accurate and like brutally efficient. So it doesn't look like he's going to do something like that. Zerglings will be produced though. And these Zerglings are to defend against Hellbat shenanigans. Because normally, you know, people say, oh, if you're going 2 base, I'm going to do Hellbat pressure on you. And because you want to save all your gas for mutas, I'm going to force out as many Banelings as possible, get good trades, force out more Banelings after that, and weaken your mutas. It could happen. Could happen.
Very well could. And yeah, there is that Spire that you called for. It's on its way right now. A third being taken as well by True. Of course, the Third of Heart has been done for quite some time, but he's not going to be, you know, going ahead and populating a third base just yet. He's going to try to get up these additional production structures first. Have a nicer little army there to secure a third base.
Everything looks pretty standard from both these players, I would say. I like Terran's build order slightly better than Zerg's just because getting that extra third up super fast against a muta play. We talked about this on Secret Springs, although obviously it didn't work out for the Terran in that case. I think in this case it's going to be really, really nice. I like the creep poop on the third though. I think that's creep poop. Yeah, it is. No, the other one. Other third.
Other third?
Other third. Nope, the Terran's third. Sorry. Yeah.
All right. I got you there. This is what happens when we don't have Curran, guys. He's the guy who normally does production for us and runs the cameras. You're stuck with Crazy Droopy here.
Hey, man. I know all about the crazy production stories. Don't you worry. We've had some crazy stories from before where, you know, where like we had one time in NASL Season 1, we had Total Biscuit come on as a guest commentator, and he actually, we didn't record his audio.
Oh my!
Like throughout the whole thing, so you only heard like my audio or Jeff's audio or whoever's.
Gosh.
And Total Biscuit actually recast the whole thing, just talking to the recording, and that's it. I don't know how he did it.
What?
He made it sound right, but yes, that's what he did. He's a psychopath, bro.
That's actually really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
It's one of the most underrated things, like this whole production and you know, production problems and stuff like that, and just being able to cast and stuff. Super, super underrated. Everybody thinks it doesn't take that much time, but let's be real. Let's be real. It takes a lot of time to actually master anything like this. It's just these people like to hate, you know? People like to hate. Haters gonna hate.
But I'm actually just shocked by that you said he just recorded over, you know, because it's not even just difficult talking to the recording, but also talking in accordance to where the camera's looking.
Yeah, I know.
So
trust me, I don't know how it happened. I don't know how it worked. Nobody knew about it. Total Biscuit's a god. That's all I can say.
No question about it. Is True going to be a god here, though? He's moved in here. He's been in here with the mutas back and forth, but now this is a big push from him.
Yeah,
Lings.
this is a mistake.
No, it is. I mean, those Lings didn't do much at all. They just had to hold position there in the mineral line. And with the DPS from the Marines returning, they did nothing for the most part. And these mutas not going to be able to last here much longer with the Marines. Oh, and that Widow Mine hit as well, not doing True any favors at all.
No, definitely not. That might be the trigger to actually push out into the map, but I love what True has done so far. Or excuse me, that might be a trigger for Heart to push out in the map, but I love what True's done so far. You can see all the way on the mid-right-hand position, there's a lot of Zerglings. Those are great for counterattacking. Normally you don't have that counterattacking option, so as soon as Terran moves out into the map, boom, you're instantly at the third base. Boom, you're instantly at the natural. So he's putting all these units there to stop his opponent from actually being super aggressive. And when he does that, it allows for creep to be spread. It allows for the right compositions to be had. A lot of really good things happen when he's able to accomplish that. Wow.
Just can't seem to out DPS those. Oh, he can. He out DPS the SCV repair there. I guess the Glaive Worm eventually lands on some of those SCVs to lower that repair count. But Hart getting there to defend. He's also moving out onto the creep barely just to do some creep control, but isn't going to commit, not with that small of an army, just for creep control.
Yep. Nice little tiny things that people really don't pick up a lot of times on. But that medevac marine drop, or medevac marine attack, as you said, killing the creep, super important in TVZ. You have to do that to really justify any attacks on the fourth base, because now there's no creep over there, and it's hard to actually manage all this stuff if you are Zerg. Spreading creep, making sure your mutas stay alive, getting enough drones, getting Zergling Baneling, and now this first attack, it looks really freaking scary. I think it's a 2-2 timing, is that correct? Yeah, 2-2 timing gets 1-1. So there's a big timing window for Hart to actually do damage here. And Zerg has not spotted this at all. He's actually made a huge blunder by not having a Zergling in between the bases. And now this is going to catch him way off guard. The units are out of position. He needs to go for the counterattack, but I don't think he was capable of making enough Banelings to stop this attack from actually happening. Normally you just make a crap load of Banelings and you're able to deal with this really effectively. That's not the case.
Yeah, this is almost going to play out in a similar way to what happened in Catalina as far as the upgrade advantage goes. And all True's doing here, he's going to counter with these Lings, see what damage he can do economically. Banelings, though, will they get good connections? Oh, actually, Hart seeing a big chunk of his army taken out there with the Banelings, but what's left here for True?
Enough, man.
Yeah,
I don't think it's enough. Oh, if he kills the 2-2, it'd be so sick. Wow, Hart did it. Hart did it, man. I mean, losing the third base or Terran is not nearly as bad because you have mules and you have constant SCV production. Losing your third base for Zerg, that is a huge problem because that means like production lines are being lost there. That means that your injects aren't going to be up. That means you can't keep up with the later stages of the game. So even if all these units get cleared out, it's not going to work out so well for.
Yeah, and if they don't get cleaned up, well, it just when it rains, it pours, right? So. Man, but Hart.
Wow, Hart's so good, man.
Down 0-2.
I think it was the mutas that, obviously the Zergling mutas suiciding into the main base is actually a lot bigger than it was. But not having Zerglings in the middle to see all this stuff coming, it means his base accurately able to appropriate the Zerglings all over the map and have that good surround that we saw in Overgrowth. I think just a lot of unfortunate problems. Obviously the timing attack with the 2-2 against the 1-1, which is integral, super integral. And from this, Hart's just going to mass and win. You don't have to worry none.
Man, down 0-2. Hart looking pretty limp against True.
Yep.
Just winning 3 games in a row to close this out. That's impressive. That's really impressive stuff.
Droopy, thank God I did not bet with you, by the way. You would have won $100.
I'm pretty upset now. But actually, to be honest, I thought True had the advantage too. So, but we were both shown up by the viewers, Greetorp.
Good job, Hart, man.
And good job, viewers. So
yeah, good job, viewers too.
Good job, viewers, on that. Hart wins 4-3, guys, as 71.4% of you predicted. And thank you for being here with us once more on this week. Number 11, Team Gravity Fight Night, $60. Going to go to True here and 20 to Hart. or sorry, it's the reverse. 60 to Hart, 20 to True, and Hart finally winning a fight night after falling to Young weeks earlier. So, yeah, congrats to him and great job. So, good games, good games.
Yep, definitely. So thanks, by the way, for letting me cast with you. It was really
Oh,
nice. Had a
thank
little bit
you,
of time,
thank
and
you.
we just went with it. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes you just got to go.
absolutely. I mean, it was a cool series between you and Fenner, and then I was all alone casting this, and then my manager messages me like, "Oh, Greetorp's gonna cast with you for the last one." I'm like,
Well,
"Really?"
you don't know this, but actually, Beast is one of my very close friends from StarCraft Brood War. We used to
Oh,
be practice partners a
oh,
very, 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 very long time ago. He was on my team. I was the captain there. So we go back for a while. So, I try to help out Beast as much as possible. I did some practice games with him before I quit StarCraft 2 like 3 years ago. I used to play with Team Grav all the time, or Gravity all the time.
oh.
And, we go back, man. You don't even know. You don't even
No,
know.
I've been with Team Gravity since September, so I guess way after your time. But it's cool to have you back though, and hopefully we can do more collaborations in the future.
It would be cool, man. Definitely so.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Greetor, for being here. So tell us how we can find you, your
Uh,
social media.
yeah, my Twitch, I stream Tuesday to Saturday. I might switch up, but Tuesday to Saturday, you can find me at Greytorp TV on Twitch. And you can follow my YouTube series where I basically try to break down the game as much as possible. L2P.tv. It'll link to my YouTube, so just go there again. L2P.tv. It's Learn to Play. We're learning to play StarCraft and Hearthstone and League of Legends and poker. And I have a lot of challenges that I'm trying to do. Basically, the purpose of the show is to master our craft. And whatever you're doing in life, you can definitely get better at it. It's awesome to master it and solve puzzles and just do things a little bit more optimally, a little bit better. So definitely check me out there.
And as for me, guys, I am the official caster for Team Gravity. You can find me at DroopyTown for my Twitter, as well as twitch.com/DroopyTown, where I cast a lot of our team-related events, whether it is our clan wars or just in-house practice matches or whatever. But as far as Fight Night goes, guys, you can find us here every week on Sunday, hitbox.tv/Team Gravity for exact times. Be sure to follow at Team Grav on Twitter because you'll know exactly when we're on live, and we're on live every week, so don't miss out. Great players, great games, particularly today. I think Retorp would agree with that, and great guest casters as well too. So,
Thanks, man.
and don't forget also to follow us on Hitbox.tv if you haven't already. I think I might have said that, but I'm gonna say it again. And a big thanks, as always, to all the people involved with the production. Cyber for making those videos. Hitbox for sponsoring the prize pool, as well as the Team Gravity management for making all of this possible. So thank you to everybody. All right, so
Yep.
any last words for everybody, Greetor?
No, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time.
All right, have a good rest of your weekend, guys.